We all know from experience that moms never forget. From your first steps to those nights she caught you sneaking out, she's got everything logged away. So if somehow you messed around and forgot that Mother's Day is this Sunday, how do you think Mom's going to take it? Luckily for you, 1-800-Flowers has your back with an amazing offer. It'll make you feel a little better about waiting until the last minute. Right now, 1-800-Flowers is offering up to 40% off best-selling bouquets, arrangements, and other gifts that Mom is guaranteed to love. This offer is ending today, so take care of your Mother's Day needs right now. Bouquets and arrangements from 1-800-Flowers come with an impressive amount of fresh blooms that are guaranteed to make her smile. Up to 40% off at 1-800-Flowers.com is an amazing offer, but hurry because it expires today. Guys, seriously, the clock is ticking. Order today from 1-800-Flowers.com. It's what Mom would want you to do. To get the beautiful bouquets, arrangements, and other Mother's Day goodies at up to 40% off, go to 1-800-Flowers.com, click the radio icon, and enter code WINGO. That's 1-800-Flowers.com, code WINGO. Hurry, offer ends today.
At Trex, we know there's a place for wood in your backyard. We recommend the fire pit. But when it comes down to choosing the right material for your next deck, look no further than the superior beauty and durability of the world's #1 premium decking brand. Trex delivers the look of wood without all of the work and the worry, and it's made from 95% recycled materials, which makes it the right choice for your backyard 100% of the time. To learn how to make Trex your next deck, visit Trex.com to order samples.
This is the Best of Golic and Wingo podcast.
Slow jamming our way on a Friday morning. Glad you're with us. Golic and Wingo, ESPN Radio and ESPN2, presented by Progressive Insurance. All phone guests today will join us on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. Mike Golic Jr., Trey Wingo here. Again, presented by Progressive, but don't forget we see the lovely set from 1-800-Flowers.com. Mother's Day coming up. Take advantage. Take advantage. Are you guys prepared? You guys ready?
Absolutely prepared. Yeah. And for my mom, certainly, I hope my son here, Mike and Jake and Sydney are all prepared.
It's Mother's Day, Sunday.
We've been saying for how long, don't screw this up. So, I mean, I got one of my kids sitting right here. Don't screw it up.
Listen, I'm not the one you have to worry about.
Yeah.
All right. You know the other two kids in our family.
Of the three, so you say it's not you. So is it Jake or Sydney? Sydney.
Yeah. Come on.
Wow. The sideways glance.
Yeah.
You just went James Harden on him.
It's just all you need to do is to walk away as he said it.
All you need to slide away right now.
Yeah, I like to think my sister is very good at a lot of things. She's very good at spending money. She's just not always good at spending money on other people.
Wow. Two body blows to start the
shots
show.
Early on. Well, we're going to need shots like that because last night yesterday didn't really work out in the kind of incredible moments we were hoping for, whether it was the hockey or the first round of the PGA, the players, with that group of Ricky Fowler and Phil Mickelson and Tiger Woods.
Yeah.
You know, so we got some other things. Obviously, we'll talk about those things, but we have some other things in the tank.
So the body blows were coming from the Golic family progeny reunion. Okay, wonderful. Here's what we got coming up today at 7:30. Rick DiPietro of Humpty and Campty on ESPN Radio 98.7 in New York will join us, and he'll probably once again blame us for stealing feisty little nugget. But again, it wasn't us.
No,
it wasn't us.
Wasn't
it
us.
was brought to us on a silver platter.
Yes, it was.
And we ran with it before we knew its origin.
There you go.
That's not on us. At 8:10, Michael Collins, ESPN golf analyst and former caddy, will join us from the Players' Championship to talk about all the players that did go low, not named Ricky Fowler, Tiger Woods, or Phil Mickelson. We'll have our Booze Cruise at 8:30 as Carlos Boozer, two-time NBA All-Star, will join us. And at 9:30, Teddy Atlas, our ESPN boxing analyst, will join us as well. So it's going to be a good weekend, I think, for sports. We're going to have the conference finals begin on Sunday. Again, the Players' Championship is always a great time because that course at TPC Sawgrass is so difficult.
It is fun to watch people struggle.
Unusual.
Yeah.
And, you know, people talk always about the 17th, the par 3, and how difficult that is, the island green, or technically isthmus green, because you have to have a little connection to land. Otherwise, if it was an island, you have to row to get to the green.
Which would be interesting
Which
as
would
well.
also be
I think
fun.
that would be pretty cool. Have a little ferry that takes the players there.
Would like to see that. I was going to say, we see all these different landmarks on golf courses. Having to row your boat to the green would be one of the more iconic.
But I think, and Brett can confirm this for me because it's been 7 minutes and he hasn't been on the show yet.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure historically there have been more balls in the water on 18, the driving, the final hole off the tee, than there have been on 17.
I have no idea.
Thanks, Brett.
Well, there
Get
you
back
have
to
it. Good research.
Thanks, Brett.
Locked in.
Locked in and ready to roll.
Because
today.
we saw this threesome a lot yesterday. We know one ball that went into the water on the 18th.
That was
That'd be one El Tigre. Yeah.
They tee off at 8:30, so once that happens, you guys can do the rest of the show, and I'll just be watching.
Wow.
So let's start now and get going.
It's time for
Off the Top
Whether you like it or not,
It's just beginning.
with Golic and Wingo.
well, we talk so much about home ice in the NHL playoffs, and in the Western Conference semis, it meant bupkis. Because the Jets beat the Predators 5-1 in Nashville in Game 7, advancing to the conference finals to play the Las Vegas Golden Knights.
Yeah, this one got ugly for Pecorine early on. The goalie for Nashville got pulled just over 10 minutes into the first period, gave up 2 goals, not very good goals on his part. Bad job out of him there, and certainly you would say the defense as well, and good job out of Winnipeg getting in the position they were in, but down 2-0. He gets pulled the earliest a goalie has ever been pulled in Game 7. 2 other times it happened after the first period. This time it happened just a little more than 10 minutes into the game. Congrats to Mark Scheifele, scored 7 goals in the series against the Predators.
Is that
all
good?
On the road. As you mentioned, Trey, the road teams were big in this one. But Winnipeg, Game 7, we were hoping for overtime. It's in Nashville. You know how much fun they're having there. And Winnipeg just came in and shut them down and said, no go, 5-1. We're not even going to have this thing close.
It was close for a majority of the game still, though, after you had 2 absolute softball goals given up. Those are on Pekka. I mean,
yes, on 7 shots, he gave up 2 goals. Exactly.
You see this, they tried to spin it. I saw the stat on TV that said 5 saves on 7 shots. I was like, man, two of those went in, and I mean, one was a snipe from a 0 angle that went in where you should be hugging the pipe. The other was on another extra effort play, but near wrapping around, coming near the same side.
It was a wraparound. And I'm with you. It's on Peck. I get it. But, man, where's your defense as well?
I just think those are clear cases where you're supposed to be hugging there. You're pulled for a reason. It's not the first time we've seen him pulled in those. But listen, PK Subban on a power play, hammer time,
rifled one that kept him in there.
And you thought that we survived the early charge. Let's get that because Peter Laviolette said in a timeout, next goal is the most important goal of the game. Turns out, not so much.
Yeah, and it was to your point. It was 3-1 going into the third, so certainly we hadn't gotten away from Nashville at that point, and then. Winnipeg put 2 more on him in that period.
Yep, that was tough. And you give PK Subban a lot of credit that moment, was going back over to the bench after that goal, tried to fire everyone up, got the crowd back into it, just ultimately not enough. So a bummer for Nashville, but now we get 2 first-timers in the Western Conference Finals as Winnipeg goes and takes on our boys out in Las Vegas.
Yeah, and the discrepancies between those 2 cities, Mike, could not be more glaring. Oh, play the clock. We're doing the stats anyway.
Go ahead. I'm waiting for the clock to go off.
And we continue.
Winnipeg, population 780,000. Vegas, 2.2 million. Average temperature, Winnipeg, 36 degrees. Vegas, 69 degrees.
Nice.
Average snowfall, Vegas, none. Winnipeg, 44 inches. Seasons of NHL hockey, Winnipeg, 24. Las Vegas 1. Now, again, Winnipeg had a different franchise. That became the Coyotes, so this is a completely different franchise starting again, but still in Winnipeg they've had it for 24 years.
Just think about that. The average temperature in Winnipeg is 36. That includes summer months.
Yeah. How about
that includes summer months. Wow. The average temperature is 36 degrees.
I would dispute the fact that Las Vegas doesn't have any snow. It's just a different kind.
Oh, hey.
Well, and as they say
in hockey, let's do that hockey.
And they will do that hockey between Vegas and Winnipeg. Again, 5 of the 7 games in this series won by the visiting ice.
Yep.
All right, we get it.
Off the top.
We're moving on. Tiger Woods shot an even par 72 in his opening round of the Players' Championship. He hit just 5 of 15 fairways and 11 of 18 greens, but he was the low man in his grouping.
Yeah, he was. So first and foremost, I mean, let's do it this way. Let's give a little love to the top of the leaderboard first before we talk about that. What was it? 6 are tied at 6 under. Webb Simpson, Dustin Johnson, Alex Noren, Chesson Hadley, Matt Kuchar, and Patrick Cantlay, all at 6 under right now. So let's give those guys a love before, because we're going to hear it, because we're going to talk about Tiger and Phil. Phil, for a different reason of his ugly golf, was the ugly thing he was wearing, above his pants,
which is his shirt,
which we
You're going to judge someone?
Holy shit. Yes, I am.
That is a fair point to make.
Yes.
Junior, that is a fair point to make.
Yes, I am. But Tiger was 1 under going to the 18th after par on the 17th and just drives it right into the water. Actually saved it with a nice putt to get a bogey.
Yeah,
be even.
That was a hellaciously good
It was Ricky
save.
Fowler at 2 over. and it was Phil Mickelson at 7 over, and what killed him was 14, 15, 16, and 17, where those 4 holes, he was 7 over on those 4 holes. Absolutely brutal golf by him.
Those holes went double, bogey, double, double. I mean, it was about as bad as it could. Tiger's ball on 17 almost went over the green into the water. Both Ricky and Phil put it in the water on 17. We'll get a lot more into what went on with Tiger and Phil a little bit later on off the top. But again, this was a day to go low at the Players' Championship. It was ripe for the taking. And if you didn't score, it's not going to get any easier. Because those greens are going to be like glass over the weekend. So if you're not at 3 or 4 under with so many players that far under par at 6, 5, and 4, it's going to be very difficult for anybody to come from way back to try and get into contention over the weekend.
Off the top.
Hey, congratulations, Boston. You got a game. The Red Sox avoided a sweep with a 5-4 win over the Yankees in the Bronx, thanks to this home run by J.D. Martinez.
J.D. hits one high in the air to right field. Judge going back. Judge to the track. Judge to the wall. He leaps. And it is gone. A home run for Martinez. Just out of the reach of the webbing of the glove of Aaron Judge. And just like that, the Red Sox regain the lead. It's 5-4. Martinez with his 9th home run.
That the very undecisive call on WEEI because...
you got an 8-footer out there in right field.
Exactly
and Aaron
right.
Judge saying, okay, is he going to be able to get this ball? And it just missed his glove. So for the home run, they get the 5-4 win. They don't get swept in this series. So we have a 3-game series, and it ends, both of them at a flat-foot tie at 26-11, both obviously playing very well. And as I said, let's hope we're talking about this flat-foot tie 158 games into the regular season. How great would that be with a few games left? Here it's happening with 37 games into the season. Still good games, but I'd love to see it later in the season.
Yep, you've continued to see the strength of the Yankees be the strength, and we talked yesterday about how the pitching has been the surprise in this, and you heard part of the reason why. CC Sabathia coming out last night and saying, you just really feel compelled to keep it close enough because you know what these bats are capable. And we saw in an inning where you get another RBI in a clutch spot from Aaron Judge before that errant pitch ties it up at 4. And then J.D. Martinez takes matters into his own hands that almost gets saved again by Aaron Judge, who's got a lot of that. But it's just this idea that when you've got a strength like this, when you've got a group that's so capable, it makes everyone else be able to relax in such a way that allows them to have more success.
And the fun we had with this, as my son tries to, sidestep it.
Oh, God.
Going into the series, I
there
said
it is.
Stanton over-under in the 3 games, 8 strikeouts.
I said under for sure.
Mike said
over. Hammer it.
You said hammer the over.
Yeah.
In the 3 games, Stanton struck out 1 time.
Honestly, if you're a Yankee fan,
time.
that may be the best thing about this entire 3-game homestand. Because
you are not kidding.
Once he gets on track, because Aaron Judge is playing well, and Didi's going to do his part, and Sanchez is going to be there, and it looks like they're getting Bird back pretty soon, this lineup is going to be very, very difficult.
Yeah, so I don't know what you lost there, but you looked foolish.
The clock, apparently.
It's the Miyagi.
Yeah.
Wax on, wax off. No strikeouts.
Because that's exactly what happened. Okay. By the way, if I'm Karsten Charles Sabathia, though, I'm a little upset because right after that home run, they called the rain down. Couldn't have called it right before I gave up that one, really?
It? So true.
But good on the Red Sox for getting one in this series. And we'll see again how it plays out the rest of the way. But as you said, they are tied with the best record in baseball.
Off the top.
And we finish up off the top with our guy. The Angels beat the Twins 7-4. And remain percentage points ahead of the Astros in the AL West because of Shohei Ohtani.
Here's the pitch. Ohtani lifts one high, and he hits it deep out there into center field. Out of here! Just to the left of the rocks out there. Ohtani goes deep. 5th home run of the season. Angels add on. It's now 7-4.
That the call on Angels Radio AM 830 as our guy Ohtani continues to deliver on the mound and at the plate, Mike.
Listen, that's a home run. He had a double as well. He was 2 for 4. Now, as far as at-bats, the Mike Trouts of the world, 135 at-bats. There's a guy's on 140. Upton has 148 at-bats. Shohei has 65. So he's less than half of these guys in at-bats. But, listen, all you can do is control the at-bats you have. He's hitting .354. with 5 home runs, 16 RBIs. He has 4 doubles as well.
Yeah.
I mean, and I think that's now his 6th multi-hit game. I think I could be shorting him one, quite honestly, but he is living up on the hitting side, no doubt about it.
Well, he is. That's his 5th home run, and he's only given up 4 in his pitching. So that's why we have this for him.
I want you to show the way.
I love that. I can't play that enough.
I totally agree.
We missed it for a little bit while he had that ankle injury. We didn't really have a chance to play that for a while. You know, distance makes the heart grow fonder.
Mm-hmm. We will absolutely. Actually, it's absence makes the heart grow fonder, but distance is close enough.
Is it really absence?
Absence makes the heart grow fonder.
Absence makes the heart grow fonder.
Well, I mean, absence is sort of implied in that,
yes,
is it not?
Yes.
That there is an absence associated with distance?
It could be, but the actual saying is absence
makes the heart grow
Maybe
fonder.
that'll be in Brettomology at one point. Yeah. Where that came from.
We're not taking requests, you guys.
Whoa! Wow! I gave him one yesterday because us coming in off of the drinking fest that we had, and maybe
today's much better. By the way,
came a line, hair of the dog to pitch it. Maybe that all of a sudden, Mister, we're not taking requests. Okay, Brettomology.
You don't know what's already on the list.
Okay.
Right?
All right. But I do want to add to this at some point because he keeps saying it. Stop it. Flat-footed tie.
Yeah.
Instead of just a tie.
Yeah, I want that.
I want to know a flat-footed tie. Where did that come from? And boy, I tell you, with that music that Stanzik likes to play when we need to get out of off the top, let me just say
that escalated quickly.
Yeah, it did.
I mean, that really got out of hand fast.
So there it is again. One more time as we have finished off the top, Stanzik, on a Friday morning. All right, Golic and Wingo, presented by Progressive Insurance. Protecting your small business is a big deal. Cover what you've worked so hard for. Visit progressivecommercial.com. And as we said, that featured group yesterday with Ricky Fowler, who won the Players in 2015, Tiger Woods, who's won it twice, Phil Mickelson has also been a winner there, did not really show out. Tiger was the low man in that group at level par in a day where several players went 6 under par. And after the round, Tiger was asked about what he thought about his score in relation to how well he thought he hit the ball.
Felt like today, the way I was hitting the golf ball, I especially towards the back nine, I felt like I should have shot something in the 60s, but didn't do it. Boy, it was nice to turn the round completely around there at 9. I hit a nice drive down there, hit a 6-iron just over the back, and made a putt there, and it was a nice turnaround, and felt like I had two par 5s on the back 9, could have played those under par, and maybe gotten a couple other here and there, and it just seemed like this golf course could have been had today. A lot of guys were under par, a bunch of guys in the 60s today, and it was playing a little bit on the softer side, and with this heat, even the wind picked up. With this heat, the ball's flying forever.
Okay, so that was Tiger after he it was warm, 85. That was after he put one in the water on 18, and he made an unbelievable 12-foot putt to avoid a double bogey.
Yeah, sure did.
But to that point, entering this year's tournament, there had been 704 balls put in the water on 18, 703 on the 17th, but with a huge one yesterday, there were 24 put in the water yesterday as opposed to 12 on 18. So now it's ahead. The 17th hole is ahead. But again, historically, over the life of that tournament at the course at Sawgrass, the 18th hole heading into this year had actually had more balls in the water than 17. It's the most difficult driving hole in all of golf on the tour. So that was part of the round. But the other thing, Phil just went haywire on the back 9.
I mean, he the only thing uglier than those 4 holes, 14 through 17, was the shirt he was wearing.
Yeah.
We have to mention that. But first, the golf. For seeing him go bunker to bunker on some of the holes, and then again that stretch he had was what, double bogey, double.
It's sounds like a good stretch.
Sounds like you're going up to the bar and ordering drinks, a couple of doubles. That's what he
might have played better with some swing. You never know.
It was a horrible finish for him. Just absolutely brutal. So he would have to have one of the most miraculous rounds ever to even be in this thing at 7 over. So
that's not happening.
Don't think he's going to be around. I think the biggest question, in all honesty with him, he's not going to be in contention. Is he going to wear another button? For anybody who didn't see it, just think of you're going out at night and you're putting on one of your nicest long sleeve button down shirts.
Yep.
Okay, to go out.
Yep.
That's what he golfed in. It was stunning. It was 85 degrees out, and he wore a long-sleeve button-down shirt that looked unbelievably uncomfortable to be golfing in 85 degrees. And the reason, that gave him part ownership of this company that makes these dress shirts, and he got money over the top. But he's also gets part of the company as well for being its spokesperson, and he took it to the point of wearing it. Now, he did wear a dress shirt one other time. I'm sure it was this shirt at a practice round at the Masters, but never in any of the official rounds, Thursday through Sunday. This was the first time. It was horrific. I mean, there are things you'll do for money. It was. There are things you'll do for money, and I get it. I have no problem with that. I understand it. But is there even a line for a guy worth almost $400 million? We can never say enough is enough. I'll never begrudge a man for trying to make his money. But boy, to wear a long sleeve button down shirt in a golf event, that blew my mind.
His quote, "I think nobody does kind of slightly overweight middle-aged guy better than me. And this says exactly who I am. I don't know what to say. I'm really happy with it. I think you shouldn't mock Mizzen and Main until you try Mizzen and Main. It's the best stuff out there."
Well, I will tell you, I have a couple of Mizzen and Main shirts, and they're very comfortable. I mean, that stretchy fabric.
Would you ever golf in it?
Probably
Would
not.
you ever put it on and golf in it?
Again,
probably not.
All of this.
But they are I want to be clear.
Okay.
They're very comfortable shirts.
Very comfortable. And if they want to send me some, I am more than willing to go back on a lot of this criticism.
Will you golf in it?
You know what? If they're willing to send me it, I'm willing to golf in it.
He showed up at our course yesterday wearing a male romper. I'm pretty sure he will.
You know what? It was breathable in its own right.
Yeah.
I'm still just baffled you're the one mocking Phil's fashion.
Why? I mean, I wear quarter zips. I mean, what's the problem with them?
But the rest of your fashion, your general ethos as a human being fashion-wise...
This is a very fair point by you.
...is as dead as it gets. I figured if anyone was going to look across the green at Phil Jackson and say, oh, you know what, that looks pretty trendy, it was going to be you. Or did I say Phil Jackson?
Yeah, you did.
That's a fine.
He's got his feet up on the
Doc Clippers?
Yeah.
Meanwhile,
Doc Clippers?
Thank you.
I listen. What do you want me to tell you?
Yeah.
It's my opinion. Yeah. Hey, more power to him. Listen, has part of the company, got paid for it. Cool. I mean, I'm never going to begrudge you that. Good deal.
I put this up on a Twitter poll yesterday. Phil Mickelson's dress golf shirt is iconic, saucy, meh, or hard pass.
I mean, it's a hard pass,
50%
right?
50% hard pass.
Got to be hard. Again,
50%.
There's 99% of other situations where you probably are just fine
shirt.
Wearing that shirt.
Beautiful, fantastic.
Playing around the golf probably isn't it.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, the reminder, folks, by the way, that
oh, he looked good.
Yeah, I got a Tiger folder. Okay, Tiger Woods, yo. Tiger and Phil and Ricky tee off from the 10th hole today at 8:27, and thus will end my participation in the show. On this Friday.
Golic
and Wingo.
And Wingo.
Mm-hmm. Trey Wingo and Mike Golic Sr. All right, we continue here on Golic and Wingo, ESPN Radio and ESPN2, presented by Progressive Insurance. All phone guests join us, Albany, Shell, Pennzoil Performance Line, and it's time for Straight Talk, brought to you by Straight Talk Wireless, best phones, best networks. As we talked about a little bit yesterday, there was a report that came out in the Detroit News about an allegation of sexual assault that was filed against now head coach of the Detroit Lions, Matt Patricia, 22 years ago. That case and that assault charge was then dismissed. No charges were ever brought. And Matt Patricia went on to become an assistant coach for many, many years with the New England Patriots, and now, of course, is the head coach with the Detroit Lions. But after the report surfaced of what the alleged incident was 22 years ago, Matt Patricia, in a situation where they had rookies in for mini camps and workouts and all that kind of stuff, made this statement about the story in the newspaper.
I find it unfair and upsetting that someone would bring this claim up over 2 decades later for the sole purpose of hurting my family, my friends, and this organization, with the intention of trying to damage my character and credibility. I was innocent then, and I am innocent now. Let me be clear. My priorities remain the same, to move forward and strive to be the best coach, teacher, and man that I can possibly be.
Matt forcefully saying he was innocent there, and then, of course, also went on to say, while I'm glad the process played out for me, I was never given the chance to clear my name in court. And then, of course, he took some questions, and some members of the Detroit media asked some very pointed questions at Matt.
What happened the night in question, the allegations or alleged what happened that day?
Again, I think what's important here, what happened 22 years ago, is what didn't happen. As I said, I was innocent then, and I am innocent now. I was falsely accused of something that I did not do.
There was a grand jury indictment. Can you explain why you actually were indicted, even though charges were dropped?
Again, I was accused of something that I did not do. I went through the process and the case was dismissed.
Were you in the room with the girl? Was there consensual sex? Was there anything that went on between you?
Again, I did nothing wrong, and that's all I'm going to say on that matter.
So that was how Matt addressed those questions. And I think first and foremost, there are far better people than us to try to adjudicate the finer points of the legal system and how this played out and what went on 26 years ago. And we'll let legal minds figure that out and go forward. But I think there's a very interesting question to be asked here in light of what we just came off of, which is the NFL draft, where these players are under all kinds of scrutiny for everything that goes on that may or may not have happened in their background, stories that you hear about. I mean, there was a tale by one team put on Baker Mayfield just to see how he would react or would be when he didn't think that the cameras were on him or people were following him, although he was tipped to the point by that there was a tale on him. I think that the bigger question is, how did the Lions not know about this?
Oh, listen.
And how did the Patriots not know about it? Who said, this was a statement from Bill Belichick. He said, the Patriots were not aware of the matter, which recently came to light. For 14 years in our organization, Matt conducted himself with great integrity and is known to be an outstanding coach, person, and family man. We have always been confident in Matt's character and recommended him highly to become the head coach of the Detroit Lions.
I mean, to show you how deep this goes, I know of a guy who was undrafted in the NFL, was arrested his freshman year in college for underage drinking, which obviously is nothing compared to this, and got calls about it, about what happened his freshman year when he was going to be an undrafted player. And the guy happens to be sitting to my right. It's my son. You went through this, didn't you?
Yeah, and was someone who was graded as such. So that was the book on me going in, was that I was going to probably be a late to undrafted player, and yet still took calls on something that at that point in time, yet had been arrested, had been cited for underage drinking, but had gone through the pretrial diversion. It was off my any sort of criminal record or anything like that. And still, teams going back and just doing enough of their homework clearly saw that. So that's the first thing I thought of in this was we see over and over again the lengths at which teams are willing to go to try and make sure that they're at least aware of everything that's going on with the guys that they're about to invest in. And this isn't some, coach, quality control expert. This isn't some sort of assistant. This is the head coach of your football team. And before that, the defensive coordinator of the premier franchise in the NFL in this modern era. So I'm shocked that just from a level of doing your due diligence to seek to control as much in the situation as you can, to be ready and prepared for something like this that might come up, that teams weren't more aware and that didn't even ask these questions. You heard Matt Patricia say it never came up in the interview process. That's why I never mentioned it.
And it never came. And think of the timing, too. This is 21 years?
22 years ago.
Well, 22. Well, now think of it when he interviewed for the New England job.
Right.
15, 16 years ago. So that was 5-6 years removed from the incident, the allegations that went on. A lot closer to where if it came up then, you wonder if it would have had an effect on if he was hired or not had it come up. Here, it's 21, 22 years later, and again, indictment, but dismissed, never even went to trial. You don't think... saying that if it did come up in the interview now as a head coach, it would have had an effect on he was hired or not. I don't think that was going to happen.
Well, the Lions have said they are absolutely standing by their hire.
But you wonder
they believe Matt.
If 15 years ago, if it would have made a deal when he were only 5-6 years out of it, if it would have been more of a deal. But to the bigger question, Mike, I know heard you talking about it on First and Last, is the homework that is done. It is, what do you dig up and what do you find? They will try and find everything. We have seen other coaches not get jobs. Who was it? O'Leary at Notre Dame got hired at Notre Dame, and they a discrepancy in his bio.
Right.
And all of a sudden, he doesn't
on his resume
doesn't have a job, anymore. About education, we've seen that happen before. So, and that's not even a hard dig. But and teams will go way further than that on players, no doubt about that. Yeah. So that seems to be the big question here is, boy, oh boy, this not coming up, and where is the due diligence along the way?
Yeah, and again, I think we are not here to cast guilt or innocence or doubt or anything like that. But the point being, to what Junior said, really, there are two faces of your franchise. There's your starting quarterback,
right,
and then there's your head coach. And you would think that most teams would want to do as deep of a dive on those two. I mean, forget a 7th-round special teamer, or as you said, an undrafted free agent that you want to bring in. You'd think they would do a deep dive on what may come up. And that's something they may have to be prepared to answer.
Prepared to talk about, right.
I mean, we go through this every year in the draft where, we get this research packet from our great folks here at ESPN Research that have almost everything that you can possibly have in there about guys that are potential draftees and potential character issues, character concerns. And they're listed in great detail. And then it's up to the teams to talk to the players and find out, okay, what was this about? What can you tell us about this? What can you tell us about that? So the idea that something like this escaped a couple of teams, it brings into question, again, what you were talking about, Mike. How deep are we diving on coaches as opposed to players?
And it becomes an easy place for people to point out the double standard that exists for players and coaches, because we talk about how long ago Matt Patricia interviewed for his first job. Like you said, much closer to whatever event happened here, the fact that it didn't come up, because we talk about this sliding scale all the time. At that point, he wasn't Matt Patricia, the great defensive coordinator. He was someone that someone was taking a chance on at that point. So with that knowledge, the fact that that didn't come up, would that have affected someone's desire to hire him?
Exactly.
I mean, we're coming off a time period as far as players where in a very similar set of events, Ezekiel Elliott was never even charged and he got suspended how many games for events not too long ago, because they took place at a time period where we were more acutely aware. I mean, 22 years ago, the landscape surrounding sexual assault and our treatment of women in general is a lot different than it is now. So maybe we're, less inclined to just take something and push it off to the side and say, oh, that's a non-issue. But you look at this and you put those side by side, something that happened just recently and now this coming up years ago, and it makes it, you've opened yourself up to a lot of that. And if you're the Detroit Lions or the New England Patriots, and more the Detroit now, it's become their problem. You've done it by not being prepared.
Yep. And we'll see what happens going forward with this. And that was Straight Talk, brought to you by Straight Talk Wireless, nationwide coverage on America's largest and most dependable 4G LTE networks.
Golic.
I tell you what, a great sports night last night, no doubt about it.
And Wingo.
What a day, what a show, what a time.
1, 2, 3, 4.
I just saved hundreds of dollars by switching to Geico. I feel like a whole new person.
Disclaimer, you will not become a whole new person. This is impossible. You might be able to join a gym or diet program, buy a new wardrobe, get hair implants, but your DNA and physical form will remain the same. Geico waives any and all liability if you attempt to become a new person, except a cyborg. If you choose to become a half-human, half-cybernetic organism with lasers for eyes, the Geico legal team would be cool with that, because, quote, laser eyes are pretty sweet. Pew, 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 end quote.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more.
Brett believes that Bob Dylan is overrated. Brett, is that true?
I don't think he's overrated. I think he's bad.
Wow.
Whoa.
That's a hot take from you.
He is not aesthetically pleasing to listen to.
If you're basing Bob Dylan's work on aesthetics, then you don't understand Bob Dylan at all.
His lyrics are nice, but it's music, ultimately, and I don't like listening to it.
Brett, the times, they are changing, just so you know.
And
get on with it.
You're fired. That was mean. He's allowed to have his opinion, even if it's wrong. Sports Center is brought to you by 1-800-Flowers.com. If you've forgotten Mother's Day is this Sunday, you only have a few hours to fix it. Luckily, 1-800-Flowers offering up to 40% off best-selling bouquets and arrangements. For details, go to 1-800-Flowers.com, click the radio icon, enter the code WINGO.
All right, we continue Golic and Wingo, ESPN Radio and ESPN2, presented by Progressive Insurance. All phone guests join us on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. So we had this little debate, Junior, after you left us yesterday, regarding a couple of all-time greats trying to revive their careers. Rafael Palmeiro last played in the Bigs in 2005. He's now playing in the Independent League.
At 53 years old.
At 53 years old, basically because he wants to play with his son. However, I
was surprised. He wants to get back to the Bigs. He doesn't like the way his career ended with him pointing at Congress saying he never used steroids and he tested positive for it. He still thinks he was wronged there and says he hasn't used them and wants to play in the Bigs to prove that he can still do it at 53 years old.
Yeah, and he got a hit. Was he 1 for 3 in the game?
1 for 2.
1 for 2 last night.
Played with his son, which is cool.
Which is very, very
cool. But
he
does want to get back to the Bigs.
Okay, then there's Kurt Warner, who last threw a pass in the NFL on January 16th, 2010 in a playoff game against the Saints, and he took a big shot in that game.
Yes, he did.
As well. A massive, massive shot. So he last played at age 37. That season he had 26 touchdowns, 14 interceptions, and over 3,700 yards. Pretty solid. He texted a coach recently and said, hey, if you're looking, I think I have 1 year left in me. So we had the question in loaded questions yesterday, who do we think would be more successful in their chosen profession if they were to get back to that level right now? Rafael Palmeiro as a DH at the age of 53, or Kurt Warner as a starting quarterback in the NFL at the age of 47. Junior, the floor is yours.
And the parameters we're going to put is 1 season.
Yeah.
A full season for both.
1 season, a full season for both. See, the definition of success is where it gets dicey here, because it would be much easier for Rafael Palmeiro to just suit up.
Agreed with that.
And go out there.
But we're talking about success.
Man, I just tend to, because of the physicality of the sport, side with Rafael Palmeiro on this one.
Yes!
Just because I think Kurt Warner's one death shot away from this all going really poorly. At the same time, I don't know, with the way that modern pitchers are throwing now, that you've got these platoons where everyone, especially the guys coming in late, are throwing 100-mile-an-hour gas like it's going out of style, and hits and strikeouts are so boom or bust anyway, it feels like it's going to be what stat line would we need for each to be defined successful? Like, what would we need to see from Kurt Warner completion percentage-wise?
Do the smell test. You looked at both seasons and you went, oh, it's a pretty good season. Oh, boy, that was dreck. I just by looking and said, oh, okay, that was good. Not by the standards of a 53-year-old playing, but by the standards of the sport. First and foremost, I don't think either would make it through the season healthy.
No, that would be case number one. I think Rafael Palmeiro, just because I think he'd be healthier longer. Mm-hmm. I think by nature of football, it would chew old Kurt Warner up and spit him out much quicker, so he wouldn't be able to put together a stat line that'd be worthy of consideration.
And I think it's Kurt Warner all the way, though the injury part scares me. I definitely think they both would get hurt. Kurt may get hurt well before Rafi in that one, but there's no doubt they would both, I think, get hurt. But I also think in today's game of a running attack, of quick passes to either the running back or hitches or quick slants or bubble screens, or the fact that Kurt Warner may be a little smarter now and not try and move around too much and do the Peyton Manning, Tom Brady thing of just go down and live to fight another play, I think he would be more successful. I think the hardest thing to do in all of sports is hit a baseball. Now you're asking a 53-year-old who hasn't played since 2005 to go up against this pitching, which you correctly stated is changed at a point where a lot of guys are throwing a lot of heat a lot sooner in a game and more different players doing it. I just don't see it. I would go with Kurt Warner all the way.
See, I'm all in on Rafael Palmeiro here for a couple of reasons. One, we've seen players like Minnie Minoso come in and pinch hit and actually have success occasionally.
Okay, let's stay out of the 50s.
Okay, no, this is in 1980 he came in at the age of 59.
I was messing around.
My issue is, what are you asking Palmeiro to do in his role as opposed to what are you asking Kurt Warner to do in his role?
I just said, you could look at a stat line and say, oh, it was a pretty good year.
Yeah.
That's all. You would know it.
Does Palmeiro get to use the juice again?
No. Well, that he denied he ever did.
Yeah, all right. So whatever. In his case, can he try it for the first time?
Yeah, there you go. My point being, Rafael Palmeiro would be used as a DH and a pinch hitter. Let's understand his role.
But if you're hitting 162, you're not looking at that and saying, well, that's any good.
Correct. I would say that he would not. I would say he would hit. I would guess he could hit about 250.
I would say no way.
And I think the odds that Kurt Warner could last 4 games.
You think he'd hit he's a career 288 hitter?
No way.
You know what he is, though? He's not a boomer bust. You talked about all the strikeouts because everybody's going for home runs right now.
No,
that is not the way he played the game.
He hits 250 for the season.
Hammer the under on that one.
I'd hammer the under as well. And I would have no problem saying if Kurt Warner made it through the season, he'd complete 60% of his passes.
But there's 60?
60.
There's no
60. Oh, yeah, listen.
Look, he would throw his shoulder out.
These guys now are doing 63, 64, 65 like nothing.
I understand you can throw a bunch of passes 5 yards around the line of scrimmage, but with his old shoulder, I watched you go out and try and throw a pass over 20 yards and almost die.
He could do 60. 58 at the lowest.
No chance. No
60?
chance.
Way better. Better shot at him, 60% or Rafi hitting 250.
Doc Clippers?
There you go.
Doc Clippers?
Exactly right. Palmeiro only struck out 100 times once in his career. Career 288 hitter, 500 home runs, and 3,000 hits.
He's 53. You're talking about stats when he was a kid.
47.
Stop it.
Is there a huge difference
Doc
between
Clippers?
the two ages?
Doc Clippers?
Golic and Wingo.
It was all sort of one big giant Jell-O mold. It's very interesting where that went.
Our golf analyst, Michael Collins, joins us from TPC at Sawgrass where the Players' Championship is underway. Michael, you know what wasn't trending yesterday? The featured group of Tiger Woods, Phil Mickelson, and Ricky Fowler. Listen, we have to ask, first and foremost, we know you're a fashion-forward guy. Give us your take on the golf dress shirt that Phil wore.
Okay, I am not going to lie. I even throw some shade on Twitter at Phil's shirt's Twitter account, and they were like, why are you so sensitive? What you coming after us for? But as wrong as it is to wear a long sleeve looking like Jerry Seinfeld poofy dress shirt on the golf course, the fact that Phil owned it after his round and was like, hey, listen, I'm a middle-aged overweight dude, so this is kind of fits my profile. And I was thinking to myself, well, you know what? As a middle-aged overweight guy myself, you know what I mean? So maybe I should just fit my own profile if it's going to be like that, you know? So it's going to be 90 today. I'll put on the bucket hat and the Oakleys. Fawn skins, like we just chilling. I need some flip-flops, some sandals maybe. I ain't got them yet. No, don't even think about putting that camera down there and looking at my Frodo toes. Don't even do that.
The comfort first, probably. Michael. That's all that matters.
That is a good look you got going on right now. And again, the reason Phil wore, again, a dress shirt, a button-down, long-sleeve dress shirt is because of wearing that, he's a part owner, he got some stake in this company, and got paid to boot. So most of us probably would be doing something like that if given a check and part ownership of the company. But I can't say, Michael, it looked too comfortable or, unfortunately for him and the company, provided too good of results here.
No, and that's the thing. Okay, I get it. You're part owner of the company. You're trying to sell some shirts. Then you know what you do? Because Phil's takes longer than anybody else in the scoring area than any other pro on tour. You hide one of those shirts in the scoring trailer, and when you finish, you come out, poof, in your dressy shirt, looking all nice and buttoned up. And it's long sleeve. And that's cool. But today's going to be 88. And you know what's not going to save you? A T-shirt. You're going to have sweat stains all over that thing, and it ain't going to look that good, even if you own the fact that you're middle-aged and overweight. So am I. But you know what I wear? Short sleeves in the heat. Ta-da! That's why honestly, though, no, I'm not going to lie. That's one of the reasons why those last 5 holes he was 7 over. Number one, you got so much adrenaline pumping through you because it's him and Tiger, and he knows it, and he wants to show out. And for 13 holes, he looked solid. And then the adrenaline crash came. He looked like a dude that was trying to drink a 5-hour energy, but someone had already taken a sip out of that little bottle, so he lost the last hour.
Yeah, it was crazy, Michael. At one point yesterday, Tiger was 2 over on the front side and Phil was 1 under, and somehow Tiger finishes 7 strokes better than Phil thanks to that 4-hole implosion where Phil went double, bogey, double, double. Look, I know that we've talked about the idea of them getting together for a match. We'd love it. And Phil said, I don't know if Tiger wants a piece of me. Now, I know Tiger wasn't thrilled with the bogey on 18 to finish it over par, but I'm sure at some point he had to say, I'll take the piece that beat you by 7 today.
And here's the thing. Phil hit more fairways than what Tiger did. Phil hit 7 out of 14 fairways. Tiger only hit 5. But Tiger hit 11 greens, and Phil only hit 9 and then had 30 putts. So when Phil was like, maybe Tiger doesn't want a piece of me, Phil, I want a piece of you in that shirt. As long as we're playing somewhere where it's 90 degrees and humid, I got you. I know. And I'm 15 handicap. So I'm throwing that out there. Now, Tiger, when he was on the podium after his round, talking about I felt like I could have shot in the 60s today, that was another one where I went, you only hit 5 fairways and 11 greens. And that one eagle that you made, that counted as a 0 putt. And before that, for the first 18 holes, he had 16 putts. So it's like, listen, Captain Confidence, I get you. And I know you got to feel that way. But let's be a little realistic here, okay? Like 1 under was good and was really good for where you were. So a par would have been great on 18, but a bogey and shooting even par, listen, you were playing in tougher conditions in the afternoon than the guys were in the morning. And now Tiger and Phil are going to get those easier conditions this morning, and the guys in the afternoon, they're going to have to deal with the wind that they didn't have to deal with on Thursday morning.
Talking to Michael Collins, again, our ESPN golf analyst. And so along those lines for today, of that 3, Ricky Fowler, he was the third one. He was 2 over. So Tiger would seem to have the best shot to make a kind of run. You just said better conditions in the morning. Where will he need to be? How good today to be in the mix for the weekend?
Well, if Tiger really wants to be in the mix for the weekend, he's got to shoot at the very least 68. If Tiger can be 4 under, then you still have 2 days and in conditions that are going to be similar to what the leaders are going to be having to play in, so he can make that move on the weekend. But 4 under is, which also means for Ricky Fowler, who shot 74, 2 over, he's got to shoot 66. So that was top of the leaderboard. So he's got to go from shooting 2 over to shooting the best round that was shot on Thursday. I don't know necessarily if it's out there for him with the way that he's playing, and Phil Mickelson, now you playing for pride. What you should do is, on his long sleeve shirt, and put the website where people can buy it on. If that's what you're trying to do, you might as well
go all in.
Walk around with a bill, or make your brother wear the hat. Hey, buy it from me. Hey, check it out.
Michael Collins with us.
Here's
for the
the
TPC.
Discount code.
Yeah, promo code Golic. Okay, Michael Collins with us, our ESPN
promo
golf
code
analyst.
Fat middle-aged guy.
Oh man, let's talk about the top of the leaderboard here, because it is a pretty good leaderboard. Obviously, a lot of eyes for a lot of reasons are fixated on that Tiger-Phil pairing, but you have Dustin Johnson, number 1 player in the world. Patrick Cantlay, a very young player. Matt Kuchar's there. And then Siwoo Kim, who won this event a year ago, started today only 1 stroke back. Chesson Hadley has already birdied one of his holes today, so he's at 7 under par. How good is the top of this leaderboard when you see all these big names that are just either tied for the lead or a couple strokes off?
I love seeing Chesson Hadley at the top of the leaderboard. He is sponsored by Bojangles Chicken.
Oh.
And he is the skinniest dude out here. Literally, if me and Chesson stand next to each other, we look like the number 10. So, and I made fun of the fact that you can't be that skinny and sponsored by a fried chicken place. And he goes, imagine what I'd look like if I didn't eat fried chicken. I go, well, okay, you got me there. You would look like a microphone stand, probably. But be honest, like, we all forgot about Dustin Johnson. I mean, this was world number 1. And it was almost like he was vanished a little bit because everyone was so focused on the Tiger-Phil-Ricky pairing or the Justin-Jordan-Rory pairing. And it was like people walked up to Dustin and was like, hey, man, you know, if you don't play good, you're going to lose your number 1 world ranking. And DJ was like, hey, bro, hold my beer. I'll be right back. And here he goes. And he's never finished inside the top 10 here. He had only broken 73 times. He shot 68 in 2014, 1 round, 2016, 1 round, and 2017. That's it. His best finish has been 12. But now world number 1, hitting it long and straight, and he doesn't have to be crazy long around here. Dude's got it figured out. This leaderboard for the Players' Championship, even though the marquee groups aren't lighting it up, this leaderboard looks really solid. And watch out for Sergio, too. Even though he finished double and a bogey, he had got to 7 under par and had the lead alone. And then those 3 strokes that he had to give back put him at 4 under, but he's still a dangerous dude.
Michael Collins joining us again, our analyst, but also former caddy. So I want to ask, I want you to wear that hat right now. 24 balls hit in the water on 17, the most in the first round since 50 were hit in the water in 2007. Talk about the discussions caddy and golfer are having on the 17th. Do you talk? Do you not talk? Do you not address the elephant in the room? How do you deal with that, the mentality-wise, because so many people not get in the water?
Well, the hole's going to be in a different position today than what it was on Friday than what it was on Thursday. Thursday, it was front left, and it brought the water into play. Now, as a caddy, we don't say, don't hit it in the water, because then all players are going to think is water, water, water. What we're going to say is, I like this club in these conditions with a little helping wind because I know it covers. And when I say cover, that means covers the front edge of the green. And most of the time, you're trying to hit it over top of that flagstick and land it into that slope. Now, when you say, do caddies and players not talk? After the ball goes in the water, we probably not going to talk for the rest of that hole and might not talk much on 18. But when you get back to that hole today, the important thing is, as the caddy, if you know your boy's not playing all that great and not hitting it fantastic, when you get to that tee, I'm going to say stuff that's going to make you so confident. Like, he's going to grab a club, and I was like, bro, it's been a while since we had a hole-in-one. Want to do this? Want to do it? And that right there put them in a confident mental place so that yesterday never even happened. And you don't talk about yesterday either. You don't, hey, don't worry about yesterday. You got this. That's a quick way to get the bib taken off. You'd be like, hey, Tim, you want to come in here and take the bag? Because I messed up. I'm sorry. He mad. He crying.
Yeah, listen,
I'm sorry.
Golfers have to be like cornerbacks when it comes to 17, a very, very short memory. But as Michael,
exactly. That's exactly right.
As Michael Collins is with us, our golf analyst and former caddy from TPC. Everyone talks about 17 because it's so unique. It's the island green, and all the balls went in the water yesterday. But historically, going into this tournament, over the course of the championship being played at this event, there had been more balls in the water on 18 than on 17. And people don't understand how difficult that tee shot is because you have all that water to the left and you got trees to the right. It looks like you're trying to hit a shoestring of a fairway on 18.
Well, that's the problem. The problem is when there's water on the left-hand side, guys will be like, they're going to hang on. Don't hit it in the water. But that means the bailout right puts you behind some horrific trees that you can't. A lot of guys like hitting stingers, but out of this rough, the ball jumps, which means it's going to jump up in the air, and you're going to hear whap, 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 and then it comes down in the pine straw. And as the caddy, you get that look. And I'm always, you look back to play, what you looking at me for? You didn't, I didn't say, hey, 4-iron punch up into the trees. But you can't. You got to stay positive. But that's the one hole that there's no bailout. There's nowhere to go, well, I can hit it here and just kind of be safe. You just got to grab your Pro V1s and go, I'm just going to have to hit it down the middle, and that's it. And that's what you see the champions do. If you remember Ricky Fowler, the year he won, he took drive route on this hole and hit it like 340. Just sent it. It was awesome.
All right, you had me thinking now when you said golfer looks back at caddy, like what just happened. What's the worst piece of advice you gave, whether it was a club selection, reading the green, whatever it was, where you knew you were wrong, whoever you were caddying for stared at you and just stared a hole through you because they knew how bad you blew that one?
On a Monday qualifier, on the last hole, I was caddying for John E. Morgan, who is from England. And it was to try and get in the tournament Doral back when it was a regular tournament. And he asked me for the read. And I wasn't 100% sure, but I looked at it and I said with confidence, I was like, this putt's going up. It's going to break about a ball from right to left. And right here's the spot. And as soon as I walked away, everything in my gut was like, yeah, you messed that up. And I was like, no. And then, you got the two guys on your shoulder, and the one guy's like, hey, that was good. You spoke up and did what you're supposed to do. And the other guy was like, dummy, you did it wrong. And now you guys aren't playing next week. And of course he hits the putt and it goes right. Completely misses the hole. And I get that look.
Well, you know what? We're happy to have that look now on this show. Just want you to know that. And I want you to rock the bucket hat and the flip-flops and the shades today because that will win the fashion statement no matter what Phil does. Michael, always good to talk to you, my friend.
Thanks, Michael.
I got the bucket hat and the sunglasses, but I ain't walking 7 miles in no flip-flops. Not with my Frodo toes.
Golic and Wingo.
Let's not expect too much. There's only one person out there that's expecting way too much out of this guy too early. We know who that is. It's his father.
Golic and Wingo with you on a Friday morning on ESPN Radio and ESPN News, presented by Progressive Insurance. All phone guests join us on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line, and it is continuing to be a dart show at the Players Championship. Wow. Patrick Cantlay is
he was
under par.
Yeah, he was one of the six at six under. He's played 3 holes. How's it gone for him?
He's 3 under par.
Wow.
That's birdie by my math. Or technically, I guess it could be par eagle birdie. Let's check on his scorecard.
Let's check on his scorecard, shall we? It is birdie.
Yeah. He's off to a good start.
I'd say so.
Yeah. So he's off to a good start. Phil Mickelson is not off to a good start.
No.
He bogeyed the first hole. He is now 8 over par for the championship. And Tiger Woods is still at level par as they're playing in that group right now, which by you can catch on ESPN Plus, the featured group of Tiger Woods, Phil Mickelson, and Ricky Fowler. At 8 over par, only 3 players are worse right now than Phil Mickelson, and that'd be Derek Fathauer, Brandt Snedeker, and Ben Martin.
Yeah, it's a struggle now for Phil and his dress shirt.
Legitimately real, but he's out there.
Yeah, he's out there. He's out there in a dress shirt again, going to be 88 degrees. He's going to feel that coming up, I'm sure, the last few holes of this one when it gets to, as they tend to be right after noon. I'm sure it'll be nice and warm.
That's commitment to the cause.
Man. Yeah, it is. Hey, more power to him. Again, for those wondering why he's wearing a button-down dress shirt, he's part owner of that company or given part ownership of that company, plus getting paid as well to be the spokesperson for that. So he is wearing it.
Yeah,
more power to him.
He's owning it.
The whole idea of the shirt is the comfort, and I'm sure it is very comfortable. I'm sure it is, but You know, and I know people are bringing up, do you realize, back in the day, they golfed in golf.
But you know what? We're not back in the day.
Yeah, exactly right.
That's the thing. Technology has helped us. And I get it, by the way. These shirts are very comfortable.
Yes, I get it.
When you wear them in non-athletic, they stretch, they move, they're great. Mm-hmm. But I don't know if I'd want to swing. Oh, and Phil's got a precarious little spot.
They have these little, and watching this, have you seen, they have these little baby bunkers.
Pot bunkers, they're tiny.
But when I say pot bunker, I think at the Open.
Yeah.
Those deep bunkers, these are like little, like circumference-wise, they're not very big.
No, they're like
baby bunkers.
They're screw you bunkers.
Yeah,
it
seems so.
Really?
And you know what?
Really?
That's exactly what they're doing to Phil.
I mean,
because he's been in a nose
He's standing in that bunker right now. That bunker can't be more than 4 feet across.
It's hilarious.
It is.
It's pretty wild.
Now, he's there in 2 on a par 5, so that's the good news.
Yeah, well, yeah.
But the bad news is,
he's there.
He's on the green.
Yeah.
Okay. So again, you can watch that on ESPN Plus. But now let's get to what's trending, and what didn't trend in the Western Conference semifinals was home ice. The visiting team won 5 of the 7 games between the Preds and the Jets, including the Jets in Game 7 in Nashville. They won 3 games in Nashville as they take the series 5-1. After allowing 2 early goals. It was an early night for Pekka Rinne.
Yeah, it was. Earliest goalie pulled in a Game 7 in this situation, just over 10 minutes. The other 2 were pulled after the first period. So this just after halfway through the period, he gets pulled, and they make it 2-1, and then it's 3-1 after the second period. So they're still right there, but Winnipeg puts a couple of more on them in the third, and that Game 7, you just want that overtime hockey, and unless you're a Jet fan or a Predator fan, then you don't. The Jet fans will want exactly what they saw. A 5-1 win is they'll now start their series. Both conference championships are set. They against Vegas, and of course Washington, who finally got over the Pittsburgh Penguin hump, will take on Tampa Bay in the other conference final.
And again, the disparity between Winnipeg, Manitoba, and Las Vegas, Nevada is just glorious.
It really is. The average temperature in Winnipeg is 36 degrees.
That's for the year.
Average for the year.
We're not talking about the winter months. For the year, 36 degrees.
And in Vegas, it's 69 degrees, and snowfall in Vegas, not 1 inch.
No.
And in Winnipeg, just under 45 inches. So big differences, but 2 really good hockey teams.
You're going to have to pack very differently for both.
Yes, you are.
Depending on where that series is being played. Well, this is one of the more interesting stories of the young baseball season. Red Sox pitcher David Price said Thursday that video games are not the cause of his carpal tunnel syndrome, but stressed he will not play the popular game Fortnite in the team's clubhouse again, quote, to avoid the distraction it has already caused, end quote. He went on to say, I've always played it with my teammates during the offseason, at the field, at the hotel. That's kind of my generation. That's what we do.
He's a big gamer. And listen, that's huge right now. Video games, monster. What do you think? Legs was in here yesterday talking about the video golf that he plays. But
on
these guys,
iPad,
these guys will take it on the road, on road trips. They're playing in their hotel rooms, hooking them up, playing video games. And Fortnite is obviously the game out there right now for anybody that's living under a rock. But playing it in the clubhouse before the game, said, no way it's the cause of my carpal tunnel, but I'll stop anyway just so it's not a distraction. But isn't that amazing?
Have you ever played Fortnite?
I have not.
Have you ever watched somebody play Fortnite?
I have watched people play,
It's fascinating.
It's unreal. Where video games have come from when you and I were young playing Pong.
Yeah. Atari. Dot. Back, forth, cat, 2 toys.
Exactly. To what's going on now is just ridiculous.
Well, look at even the Madden game evolution from when I first came out.
Without question.
Everything. It's just amazing.
Listen, and to show you how more realistic they are, back when Tecmo Bowl, I was a star.
Hey, there you go.
So, I mean, just
my age, the mind starts playing tricks.
There you go. It's exactly right. There was one year I had 26 sacks. Yeah. Which, would have almost tripled what I really got on the field. I wanted to go in and ask for a raise.
And how'd that go?
It didn't go well.
There you go. But you know what? The fact that you took your shot, I like that. And Matt Harvey has joined the Reds and will start Friday against the Dodgers. The former Met joined his Reds teammates in Los Angeles Thursday and will start Game 2 of the series tonight. It'll be on a pitch count.
Yeah, listen, didn't want to go to the bullpen. Certainly didn't want to go to the minors, so he refused to go. And now he ends up with the Reds. He's back in the starting rotation. He gets a chance to kind of reinvent himself a little bit, see if he can, carry the weight of being a starter or what direction's this going to go. He got what he wanted. He didn't like the direction he was going with the Mets. So he gets a new start here from an individual side of it. Certainly the Mets a better team than the Reds right now. I don't think, obviously, the Reds aren't competing for anything. And the Mets, everybody just keeps waiting for the shoe to drop on more injuries there or bad play. But he gets to kind of reinvent himself and start over again and see if he can do it in the starting rotation or if that's going to be his future or not.
Look, you always hear, hey, this player needs a fresh start. Yeah. I don't know of anybody in baseball more recently that needed a fresh start more than Matt Harvey. We'll see if it pays off for him. By the way, Golic and Wingo reminding you that baseball season is underway. Tune in this Sunday as Bryce Harper and the Nationals visit the D-backs. Presented by Wendy's. Coverage of Sunday Night Baseball begins at 7 Eastern on ESPN Radio, ESPNradio.com, and the ESPN app, and at 8 p.m. on ESPN and the Watch ESPN app. Meanwhile, it's that time. Time for the Love It or Shove It. You ready? Everything has nuance. Nothing happens in black and white. See, Bubba's going to hate me again, but I think there's nuance here. You guys have to embrace the nuance in life. Wait, hold on. There's two questions there. Life is not black and white. It's mostly gray.
Just answer the question.
No. Well, which one do you want me to answer? No, you're loving that. You're loving the statement.
You love it or shove it. It's a statement, and then you love it or shove it. This is the first time playing.
No, it's not, and it should probably be the last time playing. All right, here it is. Bubba's back with us, still rocking his Mets T-shirt.
Yep.
You know, is that Tebow? Is that Tebow?
You know, it is Tebow. You know what's amazing is no matter what, and we don't even show him walking in on the TV for people watching on TV walking in, but he refuses to be sitting here when the segment starts. Yeah. He has to walk in like a walk-up music or something like that. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, well, you know, I'm contractually obligated only to be in here for a certain amount of time, so I'm not just going to dilly-dally.
Love It or Shove It brought to you by Grainger. Wow. And by the way, clearly, Love It or Shove It not brought to you by a razor or a comb when you look at Bubba. He's sort of like just got off of
he's disheveled.
7 days in the wilderness.
But that's because he's so busy writing these incredible Love It or Shove It questions, right?
I read them all.
Did you go to see Tebow play when he was in Hartford?
I did, yeah. Sorry I missed you guys on Wednesday. I'm sure a lot of people were asking, where's Bubba? Where's Bubba? Where's Bubba?
Actually, not one person mentioned it, but glad you asked anyway.
Really?
Yeah.
No, I went Monday night. Yeah.
How'd he do?
He played, so, you know.
Well, we got a couple of bats.
All right.
Hartford, though. Great place.
Did you guys hang out, you and Tim?
No, he was busy.
Okay.
I tried, but you know,
stalker.
But yeah, keep me updated. Speaking of events, though, the Pinehurst, because I know, like I said, sad to miss the Yard Goats,
right?
But
keep me updated. If it happens, it's
a show talent.
Golic, Wingo,
show talent. Yeah,
show. It's probably not going to happen though.
So, yeah, probably not.
So okay, if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen.
Yeah,
we'll let you know.
I don't think it's going to happen.
We'll let you know. Yeah, we'll be in touch.
Okay.
All right.
All right. What do we got?
Other than LeBron, Brad Stevens is the most important person in the Eastern Conference Finals. Love it or shove it.
Come on. Listen, I get all the talk of the genius talk, but I shove this. I mean, yes, he draws up some excellent plays that the players talk about, but the players are the ones playing on the court, okay? They're the ones getting the job done that have to get the job done. If they advance, nobody is going to say the Celtics moved on to the NBA Finals because of Brad Stevens. He'll be part of the story, but the headliners are going to be the actual players that are on the court. So I as great as a coach as I think he is, I shove this one.
So who would you say is the most important person?
Other than
LeBron.
Oh, well, if the Celtics are going to move on, I guess you got to go with Tatum. Horford for what he's done, but Tatum's won, 7 in a row, 7 games in a row over 20 points, so he has to stay consistent like that. They've had a number of guys that have certainly stepped up for him. If you want me to pick one, I'll pick him, sure. But it's not going to be the coach.
I think that Brad Stevens is very important in this matchup, no question, but because of he's not playing, I will also shove that as well. Our old teammate Merrill Hodge used to have this great line, coaches have all the power and no control, which means they can say do this, but the players have to do it. But I'll go another way. If it's not Brad Stevens, I'm going to say it's Kevin Love. Because, look, we know that there are a lot of weapons for the Celtics. But in the series against Toronto, Kevin Love was a factor.
Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons they were able to sweep. But LeBron's going to get his. I think we're clear about that. If Cleveland is going to advance, Kevin Love has to be the Kevin Love we saw against Toronto and not the Kevin Love we saw against Indiana.
The Rockets season should be considered a failure if they lose to the Warriors. Love it or shove it.
Here's the amazing thing. I know the Rockets have the number 1 seed, but does anybody think that they're the better team?
The Rockets?
The Rockets, no. The better team against what is now a healthy Golden State team. I don't think so. So while that's their goal and they put all their chips in to beat Golden State, I don't know how you can get to the point of one step away from the finals and the team in front of you is a team that is a better team than you.
Yeah.
And if you lose to them, while you may feel like the season is a failure because you didn't get where you wanted to go, it's tough to think of it that way when you say, we lost to it, which I think they will, lose to Golden State, and I think Golden State's a better team. So because of that, I'll shove that.
Well, here's the question. Who are you believing, GM Daryl Morey or head coach Mike D'Antoni? Because GM Daryl Morey says we are obsessed with beating the Warriors. We have to find a way to beat the Warriors.
Yeah.
Then Mike D'Antoni says, hey, if we don't win a championship, we still had a good season. So there's been two conflicting messages from the organization.
Well, I don't know if they're conflicting because Morey didn't say if we lose, it's a disappointment. He just said we're putting everything in all the chips in the middle of the table to beat Golden State, but Golden State's a better team.
I'm going to say because of what Daryl Morey has said, we are obsessed with finding ways to beat the Warriors. They have home court advantage. If they don't, I think it will be considered a failure just because of the standard they put out there.
Okay.
Either the Celtics or the Rockets will advance the NBA Finals.
Or Bretomology, or
love it or shove it.
I shove it. Neither one is going to make it. I think it's going to be Cleveland and Golden State again. I don't see either team winning more than 2 games. I don't see either series going more than 6 games in this one. So I will shove that and say Cleveland, Golden State meet yet again in the finals.
Yeah, part of me wants to say the Celtics because I think that they've been a better team all season long than Cleveland without their best 2 players, arguably, in Gordon Hayward and now with Kyrie Irving for the latter half of the regular season. But I think we're getting a 4-peat as well. I think if anyone's going to make it, I think it's going to be Boston. I'll put that caveat out there, but I'm going to shove that as well.
All right, we're loving it and shoving it with Bubba, the board op on the Will Kane Show, who is somehow grandfathered into this role, even though we'd much prefer Cliff to read these questions.
That's
What's
fair.
up next, Bubba?
I'm sorry, what?
I think I just stated it.
Wow.
Yeah.
You know who doesn't want Cliff?
Who's that?
Granger.
Oh.
Can you say that with great certainty?
Absolutely. Talk to him every night.
Okay.
There you go.
John Granger, good guy. Both Dwayne Casey and Brett Brown will retain their head coaching jobs for next year. Love it or shove it.
Well, I think Brett Brown is for sure going to be back. He's not getting fired.
I don't understand how anyone can think Brett Brown should be fired.
I think it's
They
crazy.
won 15 games 2 years ago.
And Dwayne Casey, I mean, he just got voted by all the coaches who voted as their coach of the year. I think he'll be a casualty just because of we've been down this road before. We can't get over this hump. And now maybe we need to make a change, even though I think it's more for making a change for looking like we're making a change. So I do think he's going to end up being gone. So you said both though, so I'll shove it because Brett Brown is not going to be fired.
I'm gonna love it because I think everything that's come out of Toronto was like, hey, if it weren't for that one guy, we'd find a way. I mean, they did win 59 games. They were the number 1 seed.
I agree.
They have a deep bench.
I hope it's this, by the way. I don't want Dwayne.
I
to
agree.
Fired.
The question then becomes. Is the GM going to say, I did a bad job in building the team, or did Dwayne Casey do a bad job in coaching the team?
Right.
And if it comes down to that, I think the GM's going to say, it's that guy.
Yeah, it's that guy. I confess he did it.
Exactly. That's it. But I'm gonna love this because I want it to be the case.
All right. And according to the Love It or Shove It bylaws, when the name Brett is in the question, we have to go to Brett.
I'm going to shove it. Jay Wright's going to take both jobs.
So that's just a way of getting Cookmaster Cliff into Love It or Shove It. Let's be clear about that.
What happened there?
The NFL draft should be in a different city every year. Love it or shove it.
So again, it was in New York from 1965 to 2014, but it's since been Chicago. It was there for 2 years.
Yep.
Philly for a year, Dallas for a year. Now it looks like it's going to go to Nashville. Absolutely. Keep barnstorming this thing. I think it's a huge, huge hit when it goes to other cities. Gives those cities a chance to showcase for a few days. NFL experience is there for fans as well for them to attend. So I love how they're doing this, and I hope they continue doing this. So I absolutely love this, and it should be in a different city every single year.
I'm going to love it as well. When I sat down with Roger Goodell before last year's draft in Philadelphia, he looked at me and saw the throngs of people in downtown Philly, and he said, I think we've outgrown an indoor venue forever. And even though the stadium, yes, we have a pick. Let's go to the commissioner. We have, even though it was inside AT&T Stadium last year, it spilled out to the Fan Fest outdoors. The draw, I mean, again, I ran into 2 people from Glasgow, Scotland, that came in for the draft. The draw and the event it's become, I think it'll be a traveling show that will continue everywhere. So I'm going to love this big time.
You're associated with the draft?
I am. Much in the same way you're associated with Granger.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that. You know what they should do?
Yeah.
Bring the draft to Hartford.
Why?
Hartford has it.
Just read the next question.
It is a veteran quarterback's responsibility to mentor rookie quarterbacks. Love it or shove it?
See, overall, I completely shove this thing. Now, there are situations where you know you have a bridge quarterback and you have a high-drafted rookie quarterback that you'd like them to kind of, oversee until they take over. But as far as the question is written, no, it's not a veteran quarterback's responsibility. It's the responsibility of the rookie to learn. And if that's learned by watching how a veteran does this thing, asking questions, to a veteran about certain situations, whether it's film or on the field, so be it. But to sit there and say it's a veteran quarterback's responsibility to mentor a rookie, I absolutely shove that.
Yeah, look, I'm going to shove it as well. Remember, Brett Favre basically said the same thing when they drafted Aaron Rodgers. It was not my job. And somehow Aaron Rodgers turned out fine. Now, do you have to be a to the guy? No.
Yeah.
I think you have to be cordial. But you don't have to say, hey, buddy, let me tell you how to do all these things. Because one of the things that a quarterback has to be is a leader. One of the things a quarterback has to do is let the team come to him and believe in him. And you can't have somebody telling you how to do all that. That sort of has to happen generically.
Right.
And it has to happen almost organically.
Kind of organically, right.
So I think that has to happen on its own. So I'm going to shove that it's the responsibility. But at some point, you just can't be a you-know-what to the guy.
And according to the Love It or Shove It bylaws, you said the word Brett, so let's go to Brett.
I love it. You have to be a mentor. You go into a new job, you need the older people above you to show you how it works.
Is it their job to show you how it works, or your job to see how they work, take from them how they're working, and then ask questions appropriately along the way?
Well, if you come into a new company and you start emailing your manager and they say,
okay, but there's the difference. Well, you
nothing.
just said the difference. That's your manager.
Yeah, but the way that everything is structured, you're the manager of your group.
Hold on a minute. That is a huge difference. If your title is manager, it is your job to manage and mentor those employees. That is a completely different dynamic than being another player competing for a job in a room.
So are you saying that only Alex Smith has to mentor the younger QBs because he's a game manager?
No, I'm not saying that because I don't believe he's a game manager.
Oh, my
and
God.
by the way,
Mr.
Alex Smith, when they drafted Patrick Mahomes last year, said, yeah, it kind of sucks because they drafted him to replace me. And look what happened. After the best year of his life, the best season of his career, they booted him out for a guy who started one game. So, no, you don't have to do that.
All right, Bubba, we got one more?
No, I think that's it.
No, I think we got one more.
No, we got
one more.
You want me to read it then? Oh, Cliff, would you like to read this last question?
Why don't you read this?
I got you.
Thank you,
I love this. I love this question, by the way. The Mets are the worst organization in New York. Love it or shove it.
Let's go to Brett first.
Shove it. That's idiotic.
No, the MTA is the worst organization in New York.
Oh, wow.
Fair.
Okay, what about sports organizations?
The Knicks.
Yeah, I think that's
it's not even close.
Yeah. I think I would agree. I think it would be the Knicks.
I think it would
as well.
Yeah. But hey,
remember just in the World Series.
Yeah, that seems like 8 years ago. Do you remember when we were having this discussion a couple weeks ago about who was the best team in baseball? And I said it's clearly the Red Sox, and you said it was the Mets. How's it worked out since then?
Doesn't really ring a bell. I don't know.
It doesn't ring a bell like getting the right lineup card. Also does not ring a bell for the Mets.
Wow.
So they've got some ish.
Best thing you can do now is just read the closer.
All right. Love it or shove it. Brought to you by Grainger. The products and services you need when you need them. Grainger's got your back to help keep your facility running. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
You're the
Good job,
best.
Bubba.
You're the best. Oh, Tim Tebow called. He said he's busy the next 12 times he comes to work.
Come on, Tim. Well, at least I can hang out with John Grainger.
Yes, you can. Yes, you can.
This has been the Best of Golic and Wingo podcast. You can listen or subscribe on the ESPN app, Apple Podcasts, or just ask your smart speaker to play Golic and Wingo. Plus, you can check the guys out live weekday mornings from 6 to 10 Eastern on ESPN Radio and on ESPN News.